Hello everyone and welcome to another video. My track guide for the Toyota GR86 going around the Charlotte Roval 2025 layout. Let's get into it. We start on the right side of the track as close to the wall as we dare, and once we get to the one board here in front of us we start to brake. I'm doing a quick hit to about 15% before trailing off, and we want to hold just a few percent all the way to the curb. As we get to the inside curb we want to pick up the throttle again. The best thing is not to hit the inside curb, because it will unsettle the car quite a lot. We want to carry as much speed as we can without hitting the outside wall. Turn 2 is flat out, just make sure you turn in and get as close to the inside wall as you can. We want to be as far left as we can for turn 3. We have to look at turn 3 and 4 as one big corner. But for turn 3, we want to be braking once we get under the banner here for Bank of America. I aim to hold my brake pressure around 30%, and we pretty much hold that pressure all the way to when we turn in for turn 4. For turn 3, we get in close to the curb on the inside before getting out to the left side of the track to open up turn 4 a bit more. Once we turn in for turn 4, we want to start to apply the throttle again. We want to get close to the inside curb without hitting the anti-cut, and then we want to let the car walk out to the outside here, as we won't get a 1x at all. Turn 5 is flat out, all we want to do is get in close to the inside curb without hitting the anti-cut, then we want to utilize all of the available room on the outside. Once I go over the hill, I lift off the throttle, and just about a car length before the red part here, I'll start to brake. A quick hit to about 40%, making sure we don't go too wide on the exit. Once we're over the inside curbing, we pick up the throttle again. I aim for my exit here to be about mid-track. Turn 7 is all about getting a good exit, as we're going onto the oval part and we want a high exit speed. I brake once I get to the end of the curb here on the left, and I aim for about 70% brake pressure, and we're trailing that off all the way to the inside curb. We want to be braking just about mid-track, steering a little bit away from the corner. And as we turn in, we want to go down all the way to first, getting in close to the inside curb without cutting it. When we're at the inside curb, we want to pick up the throttle again. There's a lot of banking on the oval part which will catch us, so we can go earlier on the throttle than we think. Now, we want to shorten the distance we travel, and we do that by going all the way down to the white line. Just make sure you don't hit the apron, as that will unsettle the car. And you will get a slowdown if you go all the way down there and try to stay there. Turn 7 is a great place to try and set up and overtake into the chicane. Keep that in mind when racing here. For the chicane, we want to get over to the right side of the track. My braking marker here is the 3 board here on the right. Once I get to that, I start to brake, and I'm aiming for about 90% brake pressure, trailing that off all the way to the second curb of this corner. We'll quite aggressively cut the first curb, and we're still holding brake pressure until we get to the second curb, which we don't really want to touch at all. We cut so much of the first one, so we don't have to take the second one. As we get to the second curb, we want to pick up the throttle again. The car should push wide, but you want to cut all the way up close to the outside wall to make sure you maximize the exit speed. Then we want to cut the inside of the red part here to shorten our distance. Just make sure to get up above the white line before the corner starts. Otherwise you will get a slowdown penalty. Just like before, we want to stay close to the white line down here to shorten our distance. If you get a bad exit out of the last chicane, people will try and overtake you into the next one, so keep that in mind when racing. But stay on the left side of the track for the chicane. Once we get down from the oval part, this is where I start to brake. And I aim for about 80% brake pressure, trailing that off all the way to the first curb, which we're going to cut quite aggressively. We just need to keep one set of wheels on the red and white curbing. Getting this right, we don't have to touch the second curb at all, and that will help you a little bit with the exit speed out of the chicane. As we get to the first curb, we want to pick up the throttle again, and as I said, ideally missing the second curb, but if you hit it just as I did, just lift a little bit off the throttle. And if we keep it out of the ball, that should be a lap around Charlotte the 2025 layout in the Toyota GR86 of a time of 1 minute 34.8. I have more track guides for the GR86 linked down below. Hopefully you found this one useful. If you did, leave a like down below, consider subscribing as well, and now for the uninterrupted hot laps.